How's it going, everybody? We're in a new spot here. I'm still in the process of moving in, so things are a little bit sparse, but this will be probably the area where I'll be doing some video recording in the future. But you know, I put up a whole bunch of videos about our trip to Oshkosh over the last week or so. And all of these videos have, of course, shown how awesome Oshkosh is. That's the whole reason you go, is because it's an amazing experience. The point of those videos is, you know, show people, hey, look, this is an awesome thing you can do, and you can do it for much less money than you probably think that you can. And here's all the sites and the attractions, and this is the reason that I have gone over and over again throughout my life. But I feel like I've needed to put out another video where, I gotta be honest, there were some things that I was really disappointed with this last time that I went to Airventure Oshkosh. So I just thought that I'd mention those things because I may be totally by myself here. I may be the only person in the world who feels like there's any of these things that need to be mentioned. But at the same time, there may be a lot of other people out there who are thinking the exact same thing. So I just decided I'm going to talk about it. You can love it, you can hate it, do what you will with it. When I think of Oshkosh, I think of all of the experiences that I've had there since I was very young and as I've gotten older. And of course, you know, as I've gone over the years, my appreciation for it has changed in many ways. You know, when I was a kid, I remember getting to see Bob Hoover fly. And at the time, my dad was all like, oh my goodness, it's Bob Hoover. And I was like, yeah, some guy flying with his engines off, great. Of course, now looking back, I realize how historical that was. Then, as I started actually doing flight training myself and realizing how difficult it is to do these aerobatic maneuvers, you think about not only just the skill to do the maneuvers themselves, but then the fact that they have to adjust this every single time they do it. The wind is coming from a different direction, and they've got to adjust for that. And all of those little things gave me a new appreciation for the flying aspect of things. As I started getting into looking into the costs involved in airplane ownership, I don't own an airplane, but as I started actually researching that, then I started looking at the other aspects of things. You know, you see the airplanes on display, and every time I've grown in my understanding of different aspects, I've also grown in my appreciation for different aspects of Oshkosh. Same thing with this year. I, in the past, had always just sort of come and thought, okay, you know, here's all of these people that I don't know. But then this time was a little bit interesting because this was the first time I had been to Oshkosh since really starting to get into watching pilots on YouTube. And so I kept seeing all kinds of people all over just walking around that I recognized from YouTube. And that was just kind of interesting, you know, getting to see their airplanes. And you know, that was another aspect of, okay, this is something that's very interesting to me. But at the root of it all, EAA, Experimental Aircraft Association, in my mind, has always been about showcasing what the common person can accomplish with aviation. It's always been about somebody in their barn building something against all odds on their own, and wow, look at what was being able to be accomplished by that. This thing that nobody thought would be able to fly is now historical. Or somebody taking, you know, like the Rutan designs, were just completely different than anything else that you ever seen before. Looking at that and saying, oh, these are what are the possibilities aside from the norm of what we've already gotten with aviation. And then the fly-in aspect, which honestly has been one of my favorite parts of Oshkosh, going every year and just walking through the general parking and seeing all of the different people's airplanes, seeing, you know, this is an airplane this is flown, this is they use this all the time. It may not be the prettiest airplane, it may be a little bit worn, may need some paint, but that's because it's being used for what it's supposed to be used for. That's what I really enjoy about going to Oshkosh every year. And this year, I felt like it was so far away from that. And again, I haven't been in probably about 5 years, so I don't know how this year varied from the last 4 or 5 years. But to me, it was so far off from that. It was just every day you've got 30-minute demonstration from the F-22, and then a 30-minute demonstration from the A-10, and then, A-10 and the F-22 flying around, and you've got fake explosion, or, real explosions, mimicking fake bombs and gunfire and all that, and then, a couple of passes from some warbirds, and then, where is the showcase of the general aviation and of the home-built aspect of, even the home-built section was just like a little tiny section thrown off in the corner there. And to me, that was so far removed from what EAA was supposed to be, especially this was the 50th anniversary of Airventure Oshkosh. So to me, what should have happened was there should have been a tremendous showcase of the history of EAA and the influential members of EAA and influential home-built designs and experimental designs and even just what experimental aircraft have done for general aviation in and of itself. And again, I was there late. I was only there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday, whatever. I was there at the end of the week. So maybe there was more of that earlier in the week, but I didn't see that. Now think about a lot of people from the general public are only going to be there maybe on the weekends. So how are they going to know to be able to get into that aspect of aviation if it's not showcased? And then with that in mind too, in my mind, there seemed to be no direction to direct people to different things. It was kind of like, well, I've been so many times, I know where things are at, and I know where to look for different things. But imagine it from the point of view of somebody who's just coming off the street. They're like, I have no idea about anything about aviation, but I'm curious. There was nothing to direct people to anything. There's no signs directing people that, okay, if you're interested in this, go over here. If you're interested in this, go over here. I know that there was the map that you get, but even that was just so vague. And somebody would have to really dig through all the aspects of that. I'm talking about somebody who just comes in and they're like, I'm going to walk around and just see what I see. Well, they would have no idea how to get into anything. They're not going to know that this is the aspect of home building that I need to go over here and I need to talk to these people. There's no information readily available. There was little information booths, but even that, it was like, they were just sort of like hidden off in the corner, and if you walked up to them, I'm sure that the people would give you the information that you needed. But there was no, attendants walking around or big signs saying, hey, come here to find out the information that you want to know. And then with regards to that too, when I was a kid, one of my absolute favorite things about going to Oshkosh was going and seeing the different airplanes and getting to sit in them. I'd love to go to the ultralight area and just sit in the new production ultralights and then beg my dad to buy one and then have my dad not explain why he wouldn't buy one. That was part of my childhood, That doesn't seem to be the case anymore. Now, I don't know. Me and John talked about that. And possibly a lot of these airplanes we were allowed to get in and to experience. But if that was the case, it was not made readily known. It did not seem inviting. Now, possibly if I had gone up to one of the salespeople and said, hey, I'm genuinely interested in purchasing this aircraft, I'm sure he would have had no problem, giving me a demonstration, letting me sit in there and whatnot. But if that was the case, it did not feel welcome. I never saw anyone sitting in any of the airplanes. And I know you could have the argument of, well, why would you sit in it if you're not actually seriously interested in it? That's the whole point, is getting people interested in aviation. Maybe somebody comes and they're like, hey, I don't know that I'm going to buy an airplane. And then they sit in one of the airplanes and they're like, man, this is amazing. Now I'm curious about it. Those are the things that get people hooked. And I saw no evidence of that. Now I'm sure there are aspects where you can do that, but you got to know somebody. Or you got to know somebody who knows somebody. Again, I'm coming at it from the point of view of somebody who is just coming in off the street, has no information, no knowledge about aviation, but they're curious.
And the same is true for static display airplanes getting to tour the airplane itself. Seems like when I was younger, there were airplanes everywhere that you were able to just go in and take a look at. Some of them you had to pay a small fee, but not all of them. But it seemed like there was barely any. There was just a few that you could actually go in. And because there were so few of them, the lines were 3 hours long, and then you still had to pay money just to walk through an airplane.
In that same vein, rides. We got the V-17, which is like $16,000 to ride in for 30 seconds. You've got the Ford Tri-Motor, which is much more affordable, and it's a very cool experience. And then you've got the Bell 47s, which I've done that many times as well, and that's also a very cool experience. But that's it. Where are the opportunities to ride in a 172 or, a Baron? Where are the opportunities for realistic aviation experience? Now, I'm not saying that riding in the V-17 or in the Tri-Motor or anything like that is not something that should be done, because that's a super awesome experience. It's something that I've done multiple times, and I've enjoyed it every time. And I think being able to ride in unique and historical airplanes is awesome. But where are the opportunities for more true to normal life aviation experiences? If I'm somebody who has never rode in a small plane before, how am I going to know what it's like when I'm going to go and start taking my flight lessons and I'm going to be flying in a Piper Warrior? What is that like? Why are there not more opportunities where showcase, okay, well, here are general aviation aircraft. You can sit in it. You can get to feel how it feels. You can smell the smell of, oh, you'd like to take a ride. Let's take a ride in this aircraft. Now, I know there's the Young Eagles program, which is great. I did a Young Eagles flight at Oshkosh when I was a kid as well, and it's a very cool experience. But even that, you kind of have to know that it's going on to be able to do it. There wasn't mass amounts of information readily available visibly out on the grounds to say, this is where you go to do this thing. Then even too, I know the Eagles program is something new from EAA, which is great. Similar to the Young Eagles program, but for adults. But I didn't even know if that was actually going on at Oshkosh or not. So where are the blatantly visible directions to show people this is where you go to get started in aviation? I didn't see any of that. And there needs to be that. But this was the 50th anniversary of Airventure. There was lots of fireworks, and there was like the explosions and stuff. And then during the air show, the announcer is talking about stuff. But even through that, there was not a lot of explanation about, okay, why is this supposed to be interesting? Now, as a pilot, I understand why this is exciting. But some aspects of it, as a casual observer, somebody who is not involved in aviation, they might look at this and they say, oh, okay, he's just sort of flying around and doing some loops. Where are the explanations of why this is technically exceptionally difficult? Why with this aspect of energy management is this an exceptionally difficult thing to do? Talk about the specific things that this pilot is having to do with regards to control inputs in the cockpit, and to show why this is so awesome. I felt like, they touch on that, but I felt like that was very lacking. It was more just, let's play some Katy Perry and let everybody sit back. I felt like that was really a missed opportunity to really dig in deep into that. And with regards to performers, I think that there are so many missed opportunities to just showcase things that can be done in aviation. Where was the ultralights on the main stage? Where were the home builds on the main stage? Even on one of the nights we went out to go and watch the STOL demonstration on the ultralight field. For one, the information that everyone was spreading around was it was going to go from 8 to 9:30. We got there at 8:30 and the STOL demonstration was over. So we missed that entirely. It was 30 minutes long. But then on top of that, it wasn't even an official part of the program. So it's like the majority of people had already left. We were there in the campground, so we came back because everyone was streaming that direction. But think about how many people would have loved to have seen that on the main stage, in the main runway, in the middle of the day, during the air show. So many people have come to see those pilots demonstrate that. And that's not even an actual aspect of the air show. In fact, at the end of it, they were like, everybody flood EAA's inbox to request this to actually be a thing. Why is that not a thing? These, okay, it's great to have the, Trent Palmer and Flight Chops and Swade Martin and all of these pilots sit and do a panel in Theater in the Woods, but how many people from the general public even know to go to Theater in the Woods? I'm thinking about these are the people who are attracting new pilots on YouTube. These are people who don't know anything about aviation, and they start watching, some of these videos, and they're like, oh man, this is really cool. I didn't know that you could do this. Wow, Mike Patey does all this awesome stuff with this airplane that he basically built himself, and I didn't even know this was possible in aviation. So they come to Oshkosh and they see Draco on static display. Well, why is he not performing? Oh, there was a panel at Theater in the Woods where they talked about flying on YouTube. Well, most people don't know about that unless you're, very involved in EAA or you've been to Oshkosh multiple times or you're camping there. I just think that these are many missed opportunities with regards to, basically in a nutshell, marketing. I think EAA has become so stuck in the past with regards to marketing and promotion. They're just coasting and relying on the fact that, oh, this is the biggest air show in the world. This is the biggest fly-in in the world. Oshkosh is like Mecca for aviation. And aviation people know. And then on the other side of the mouth, they're like, we need more pilots. Well, how are the new pilots going to know to get involved in this kind of stuff? If you're just coasting along on the fact that, thousands of people are going to show up every year and we don't really have to change anything. Now, don't get me wrong, I think Oshkosh is amazing, and I think the logistics of it is amazing, and the fact that everyone working, most of the people working are volunteers, and it's super clean for having so many people and so much going on, and it's a great experience, but I think the opportunities to really promote it and to direct people to the areas that you want them to go, I think is just really has been missed. And I think there's so much opportunity to promote general aviation. So in a nutshell, showcase what the common person can do. Watching demonstrations from the top line military aircraft is interesting, and I'm not saying that that's not cool to see what technology has been capable of accomplishing, but where's the showcasing what the guy in his garage can do? In a visual way, not just in the booths in the back. And then readily show people how they can get involved in general aviation. Direct people. If you're interested in aviation, this is where you go to get started. Oh, you want a taste of it? Here's where we go, where we can all just lines up airplanes you can take rides in. Get a feel for it. The new performers, bringing in the new aspects of who can demonstrate what is possible with just the common person involved in aviation, and just marketing and promoting and making things readily obvious and available to the general public. I think those areas were just missed opportunities that I think can be huge if done properly. And really at the end of it too, again, I guess I was expecting more being the 50th anniversary. To me, it just seemed like every other day at Oshkosh. I've been to past Airventures that in my mind were way more over the top. To me, this seemed like this should have been the most over the top, just grandstand, big, whatever. I mean, I remember a number of years ago there was, I think it was Van's aircraft or the RVs, and there was like hundreds of them flying overhead in formation. And like, well, where was stuff like that? Where was just the grandiose demonstrations of general aviation and experimental aircraft? These are just my opinions. You may completely disagree with me. I know this kind of went on for a while, but these were things that I had really been thinking about the whole time. And anyway, I'd really be interested to hear what your opinions are on this as well. So comment on this and let me know what you think. If you agree with me, great. If you disagree with me, great, but I'd like to hear why. And please subscribe. It really helps out the channel a lot. And click the little bell so that you get notified whenever new videos go up. And I appreciate it very much, and hope you have a good day.